Welcome to the Business Behind the Scene podcast with Francesca Moi, where we talk all about real business problems, real solutions, and getting actual results in your business. Hello, and welcome to episode number 53 of the Business Behind the Scene. Now we are at the end of the year. Can you believe it? It's December and 2020 has been a really challenging year. And I know that lots of you, like me, at times we thought, why am I still doing this business? Should I just give up? Should I just don't do this anymore? I get it. Quitting on our business, it just happens all the time. Look, I have been doing this now for 6 years and I've been going through a roller coaster of emotions every single year. Sometimes I still wonder, what the hell am I doing? Why am I still here? What am I trying to gain out of this business? What is my ultimate goal? And this just really helps me to go back to why did I start in the first place and what do I want out of this? So before I go too much forward, now that we are in December, we really hope that you guys are going to take a little bit of a break. I know how in the last 6 years, only in the last 2 years, I've been taking a break over Christmas. Before I used to work all the single time. So it's important to take a break. That break is going to give you that space for you to recharge so that you can have the energy to go into your business. Because if not, the emotion of quitting, the emotion of overwhelm is going to come back up and up and up all the time. So whenever you're tired, whenever we get to exhaustion, that's when we snap a lot easier, when we get upset, when we take things personal. So we need to make sure that we manage our own emotions and be recharged ourselves so that we don't take the problems in business as a problem, but rather as a challenge. And then we can take the opportunities from there. So, well, where do I start from? How many times do I want to give up on my business? So many times. Always, my business has been a roller coaster, and I would be lying to you if I said no, I never want to give up on my business. It would be a huge lie because it still pops in my mind. My ego wonder what would happen if I didn't have a business. Would I have to work this hard? Would I be less stressed? Would I be more fulfilled? Would I be happier? And the answer is no. No, because I will find a way to be stressed. I will find a way to be overwhelmed. I will find a way to gain more responsibility. I will not just give up, right? I will not be able to have a settled life. That's the type of person I am, and that's probably the type of person you are. So we love the challenge. We love putting out fires. We love working in the business because of that. But most of all of that, we love helping people. And with helping people comes obviously challenges and ups and downs and all of that. So, well, the first thing that I wanted to share with you, I think most of the time, the first reason why I wanted to stop in my business was because I wasn't making enough money, right? So all of a sudden, from helping people, I start to care more about money. And that's normal because I had to live with that money, right? I had to make sure that I had enough money to survive in my business. And if I didn't have enough money, then I would be more stressed, which means I started to resent the business and I started to don't want to be in business anymore. So it's sort of a ripple effect of, well, when that happens, then this happened, and then all of a sudden you just want to give up on the business because you're blaming the business for the results that you're having. I've done that so many times. The business was the thing that I was like, your fault. That is why I wanna give up. That's why if I don't have you, then I will be better off. It's not true. It's not true because the fact that you have no enough money, it's not the business fault, is your mindset. It's something in your mindset that is not allowing you to attract more money. Now, this is an example, right? We give the strategy to grow businesses to literally over 390 people, and I would be lying to you if every single person made money. It's not true. Some people do make a lot of money from it, some people don't. Now, is it that the strategy is faulty, or is it that the common denominator is the mindset of the person? Look, I've been looking into it so much because this was another reason why I wanted to give up on my business, is because of, when I started to get some of the complaints, some of the people that were not happy. I was like, wait, Is it me? Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I not giving them enough value? Am I not helping these people enough? So I will look into the strategy or try to see where the gap are and how I can help them more. And then I started to see that the common denominator is people mindset. People did not believe in themselves, did not believe they could make this work, did not believe that they could change people's lives, did not believe that they were worth the money. They did not believe that this was truly what's going to happen. They always treated the business as a hobby. They never really took it seriously. Now, a lot of people don't want to admit that. They just keep going on and on and on about how the outside circumstances is making the business, actually not making the business making money, and it's easier to blame the outside than have a good look on the inside. I was literally, I do that. I talk to friends all the time, and we do blame our boyfriends, our husbands, the person that we're dating, rather than look inside and going, wait, maybe there's something in me that is creating this effect and this result in this relationship. So this is where I have been at the extent that sometimes people say too much, like you're looking inside of yourself too much. Sometimes it's just people are making mistakes, right? Sometimes it's not you. And I said, I don't really believe that. I always believe that it starts from me. The result that I'm having in my life, no matter what area of my life, it starts for me. There's no other way to put it. If I change my mind, if I change the way I think about it, I will change the result. I have no doubts about that. So this is where, if I'm thinking I want to give up on my business, then I need to look at what is the thought that is creating that. Why am I thinking that? What is the cause of that? And the cause is not the business is not nice to me, or the clients are not nice to me, or the business is not making money, or this client said this and this and that. It's not about any of that. It's about what you think about that. So let's make an example. When I was making no money, I could have sat there and blamed the business and then go and get a job. But instead, what I did is I look into my mindset. I look into what was the reason why I didn't believe I was going to make any money. And I remember looking at other people that were making money and wonder, what are they thinking? How they're attracting money like that? How they're attracting clients? What is the self-belief? What is their thought? What is their motivation? What is the common question in the brain, rather than all the negative stuff that I had in my brain? So I started to notice that when I wasn't making enough money, it was starting from my thoughts. It was starting from the way I would look at business. It would start from, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm worth that. I'm afraid. And I was afraid of, like, what if I do charge people and then they complain? There was so many fears attached to making money. It wasn't just the fact I wanted to make money. It was like, if I make money, then this happen. If I make money, then that happen. And so all of a sudden, obviously, my brain is saying, well, then we're not going to make money, because I don't want any of all these negative things happening. So it's easier to just avoid making money. And I know that this might sound a bit like, what the hell? Like, this is what you change your thoughts and everything will change. I have seen it multiple times. It starts from our brain. So when you have a client that complain, you can see it as, oh my God, my business is going down, I'm gonna die, everything is over. Or you're gonna see it as, oh my gosh, that's a really great point, great feedback, thank you for the feedback. I'm gonna go and sort of this out for other clients as well, but let me help you further to make sure that you get what you paid for, right? So I've always taken the extra responsibility and trying to help the specific clients of going, hey, where are we at? What is it that you're really complaining about? And be really honest with you and your clients, like the truth about your thoughts, the truth about the business, the truth about your systems and your programs. I remember there was, at the very beginning of my business, I wasn't very, I always teach people, don't do things perfect. Just go out there. If there is like a version 1 is like really bad and version 10 is perfect, just go out in the market with version 5 or 6. You'll be fine, right? So that is a really good thing to get the business moving. But at the same time, you also need to make sure that you manage your brain, because as I go out with a version 5, then my brain is I'm very vulnerable on feedback. right? Because I know that it's not perfect. I know there's no version 10. So I'm afraid of getting feedback and getting complaints. But what happened is that I've always priced, if it's a 5, I'm gonna price myself at 2 so that people are still gonna get wowed. I'm never gonna charge a 10 and come up with a 5. Does it make sense? So very important that I have changed my expectation, but also clients' expectation out of the program that I would come up with. But then because I used to be a very much of a perfectionist, then I would know that I could have done a 10 eventually. So when people would say, well, this is the things I'm missing, or this is my feedback, I used to at the beginning really feel guilty, think like, oh my gosh, I would never go out the next time to the market without a 10. I need to wait for version 10 next time. And I would be like, giving myself so much hard time. So I had to work on my brain of going, wait, I'm charging a version 2, and I'm giving them a 5 or 6. That is good. That is a good thing, right? Obviously, I'm gonna then improve it and do a lot of work in the back end so this program can become a 7 or an 8. And in that case, I'm gonna charge a 3 or a 4. Does it make sense? So I've always make sure that I over deliver and undercharge always, and that way I can manage my brain. If I do the other way around, I could never sleep. I could never be okay with myself if I charge more than what I'm giving. So I've always thought about how can I work on my mindset to see that complaint as a blessing and has given me ideas on how to improve things, rather than be terrified and be afraid and stop myself from actually putting myself out there. So my question has always been, from version 0 to version 10, at least version 5 is going to help some people, right? Version 0 is not going to help some people. And when I'm trying to get to version 10, which is perfection, I'm actually going to stay longer in version 0. Does it make sense? So if I'm not putting anything out there, it's not perfect, which means I'm not doing any favor to anybody. I'm not helping anybody in the meantime. Instead, if I put a version 5 out there, at least I'm starting to help people. I'm charging them less than what they paid for, and then I'm charging less than what they're getting, and then obviously eventually this is gonna gain momentum. So the complaints, I started to look into when I was believing the complaints, when I was like, they are right, this is not perfect, and I should have not done it. When I believed them that way, that's when it was really dangerous, because my business, I wanted to give up. I didn't think I was good enough. I would doubt everything, and that's when exhaustion would come across, because I was always trying to make a 10. I was always trying to come up with version 10 and was never going to be good enough. So I decided to do the other way around, charge less so that there's less expectation, and wow them for what they paid, and know that I was going to improve it eventually, and then charge more, and then be able to get to the next level. So this is how I created every single program, product, my books, my workshops, my mini courses, everything that I've got out there. I've always done it this way. So the other time that I wanted to give up on my business was every time I had a new chapter. Every time things would change and I had to make really big decisions in the business, I would be terrified, and I would go into overwhelm, and I would go into, I don't know if this is the right choice, and I would rather give up everything. And this has been a pattern of mine in my life. Every time things get tough, I will run. And so think about, where else are you doing that in your life? Are you giving up on your relationships? Are you giving up on your friendships when things get tough? Are you giving up on your employees when things get tough? Are you giving up on yourself when things get tough? You try to lose weight and give up many times because you don't think you can do it. So this is where I had to do a self-evaluation of new chapter. Every time there's a new chapter, I go into the sense of like overwhelm and fear and go like, oh my gosh, this is the end of everything. I literally have posted something today about it, because a lot of people don't see what happens in behind the scene, and like I literally wrote a post on my personal profile on Facebook today of going, hey, like I see a pattern of, whenever I need to change and start a new chapter, I do the same thing over and over and over again. So this time I'm gonna do it another way. So what I wrote was like, it started as I get a little bit bored and unmotivated, so I started looking around at what's possible, and so then I started to get excited about something else, and as I get excited about something else, I started to take action toward that thing, and then universe aligns and it feels like everything is perfect. So I just make a decision, I just jump, I go ahead, I take massive risk, I go, nothing's gonna stop me, and as that happens, then I'm in the pool now, I'm jumped, I'm in the water, and I'm drowning, because all of a sudden everything gets dark. There's no light in the end of the tunnel. It gets really intense, it gets really stressful. There's no answers to all the questions that I have. There's nobody, everybody gives me a different opinion. I don't know what to go, I don't know what to do. And a lot of people at this point will give up. A lot of people at this point will go, this is too tough, I should have never done this, and they go back on their own decision. Instead, what I've noticed I've done in the last 5-6 years is that every time I get to that point that I go, oh my gosh, I should just give up, I go, no, this is time for me to surrender. Just accept that this is part of the journey. Accept that drowning feeling is part of getting myself there. Is if I just relax into it, if I just allow all the friction just and hold me to it, and just, you know, when you're in the water and just like let go and just float, and just be able to float across all the storms and the ups and the down and the challenges and the obstacles and the resistance and all that, everything that comes in. If I just relax through it, I'll be able to get past it. I'll be able to go through it, but I won't be able to relax and really float unless I lean into faith. You know, only if I believe that this is meant to be, if I just believe that was the right choice, because there's no such a thing as wrong choice. So in your business, what is your strategy? Every time you want to give up, what are you going to choose? How are you going to deal with it? What are you going to do? How are you going to keep swimming through the storm? What are you going to do to be able to know that this is part of it? What if you decide in faith and you stick to faith and you just keep knowing that the doubt, it's all part of it? But what if you can have doubt while floating? Can you do that? This is how I have achieved all this crazy stuff in the last 6 years, how the business gone from 0 to 1.5 in literally 4 years, and now we're on our way to a $2 million business. This is how I dealt with challenges like people copying me, people stealing stuff from me, people taking me to lawyers, people taking me to court. I've been in a court case that was like devastating. I was terrified about going to court, and I won the case because I know that I do everything I can for my clients. So you just have to come back home and come back for the reason why you do what you do, the reason why you're passionate about what you do. When you want to give up, what is your strategy? Write it down, choose a motto, have that on top of your brain. Whenever I went to rock climbing, I think I told you the story, guys. I don't know why. I had a great idea of starting rock climbing, and I went from rock climbing in, you know, outdoors in one very easy way to do it to an actual mountain. And I went to the Glasshouse Mountain in Brisbane. It was terrifying, but I don't know why. I just started doing it, and all the way through I wanted to give up. I asked for a helicopter about 10 times all the way through. I was like, this is literally like business. Like, I don't want to do the business. I just kept wanting to give up. I just kept saying that this is like crazy hard. It just, all of that just keeps throwing me across. I just did not want to do it. And this is what we do in business. But I kept saying, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. I kept having a mantra in my head that everything was possible. And as I did that, literally things will start to get easier. I will start to get up in the mountain. It start to flow. So what if you choose to flow? What if you just understand that this is all part of the journey? Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be happier if you get a job. You're not going to be happier if you just give up on your business. So you are here. You chose to jump. You got to keep taking risk. You got to keep choosing to swim. And the thing is, the risk, you know, when you're swimming in the ocean and you can't see land, you gotta make tough decisions. You gotta choose to go in one direction. If you stay still, you're never gonna get there. So choosing to float is also choosing to float while you're moving. You cannot just stay still and expect to get to where you wanna get. You gotta take risk, and sometimes taking risks means really taking risks. Sometimes means be willing to lose it all. Sometimes it means be willing to start from scratch. Sometimes it means we be willing to have the really tough next 6 months. You just have to be willing to jump. You cannot stay still. Part of being a business owner is that you need to be okay taking risks. So my friends, what are you going to do when you want to quit? Because the question is not how to stop wanting to quit, because you are going to want to give up. It's part of the journey. You are going to have obstacles. It's part of the journey. The question is not how to avoid obstacles and how to avoid wanting to give up on your business. The question is, what are you going to do when that happens? You, my friends, I hope you enjoyed today. I will definitely see you next week. Thank you for listening. And if you love this, please leave me a review. We are getting to over 3,500 listeners at this podcast. So thank you so much for listening, everybody. Come across, send, let us know your feedback, because I've been very excited to spend the last year with you, and it is many more episodes, many more years together. So thank you for listening. I'll see you next week. Bye. Hey, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, then you have to come check out my Facebook group, Entrepreneurs Abundance Mindset. It's a community of over 9,000 business owners that are also ready to boom their businesses. Don't forget to also hit the subscribe button on this podcast and leave a review so that you can win a ticket to my Invisible to Invincible workshop. I'll see you next week.